Okay. Oh my gosh. It's all falling apart.
My name is Kid. For the past 21 years, I've been a correctional deputy with the Sheriff's Department. Prior to that, I was in the Army. I was a combat medic in the 1st Infantry in the 11th Cavalry. And previous to that, I worked in restaurants for many years, with a brief stint working in an ambulance as an EMT in Boston, Massachusetts, which was pretty challenging and pretty fun. And other than that, I'm hopefully going to retire here fairly soon so I can spend more time with my family. And that's it about me.
Hooray! Yep, that's my dad. Alright. Alright, you already did. Wow, okay, you already pretty much did everything for the intro. Other than, how was your day?
My day was fun.
Cool. What'd you do today?
What did we do? Went to lunch, and then I went with my 12-year-old son, who's just got into baseball. And we went to the field and just did some practice and throwing and just had a good time.
Cool.
And Mama came as well.
Alright. So, the reason I brought you on to this interview podcast is to basically explore this psychological question. Does work ethic matter?
Does it matter to me?
That's just the umbrella question. I have more.
Do you have a specific question?
Yeah, I have a specific.
Or we just answer that one?
Yeah, the first one I put is, what is your definition of work ethic?
Work ethic?
Yeah.
Work ethic is just doing your job that you're supposed to do in a timely fashion so that everybody else can do their job, basically.
Alright.
At my work, there's never seems to really be a middle ground. We have people that are called, or that I call, most people use the terminology workers, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Some of the higher-ups say A player, so that's kind of an older term. And then the umbrella term for somebody who doesn't do their job is a dump truck or a truck.
Alright.
So,
That's funny.
I don't really want to be called a dump truck.
Well, that leads me to my next question. What traits can you attribute to having a good work ethic, as far as adjectives?
Of my own?
Yeah. Dump truck? It's not one of them.
No, dump truck is not one of them. Adjectives-wise, just committed and dedicated, I would say.
Cool. Alright. How would you define your own work ethic? Like, what is your workflow, not just in your current job, but just everything you do?
I think a work ethic a lot of times is just set by example. And then my father, who, when he was 12 years old, had his own photography business. He started when he was a teenager. His town didn't have a basketball league, so he started and ran a basketball league when he was a teenager. He was a musician, he played piano, but he had originally wanted to be in the FBI. He actually got scholarships, and again, my grandparents on my father's side were not wealthy at all. They were just blue-collar workers. So he had scholarships to music school. At the time, just even at the end of high school, he knew he wanted to marry my mother, and he didn't think he would support her very well as a musician. So he, instead of taking scholarships in music school, he commuted from Andover to Boston and put himself through Boston University Business School. And then he went to law school and then went on to become an attorney. And a very successful attorney. So I would just see him get up super early in the morning and sometimes not get home till 10, 11 o'clock at night because he had flown down to Baltimore or flown down to New York or flown wherever his business had taken him. So I think it's just, and my mother was the same way, I think it's just, it helps to have that example.
Yeah.
So you just always think that's how you're supposed to do stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely my example from my grandparents and their father.
So learned habit?
Yeah, I think so. I think to a degree you might have it in you or not have it in you, but I go back always to the, people thinking you're motivated. It's almost like a form of laziness because the quicker you get the job done, the more time you can spend doing nothing. So that's kind of how I look at it, even though that sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess the final question is... It's okay.
Kicking the set apart.
Yeah. The final question is, can you not break my set? Yeah, the final question is, does work ethic matter overall?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. I believe it matters. I think it just says a lot about the kind of person you are as well. And I don't really want to spend any time with any kind of people who don't have a good work ethic.
Well, that leads me to my final question, and it's good that you ended it that way, because my final question is, what's the worst What's the worst work ethic you have ever like observed in someone in any job? Like who is like? Okay, if I gave you like.
Oh, I can give you a very specific example.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So there's one particular deputy I call down to get his head count. It happens every night. You know it's going to happen. Knowing his work ethic, I know he didn't even do the head count, but it used to be on like a grease, like a grease board, you know, with the erasable pens.
Oh,
like a
dry
whiteboard.
erase?
Yeah, like a dry erase board for the head count. Now, obviously, like I said, it's more computerized. But he literally had to turn his head 90 degrees. Is that 90 degrees? 45? No, 90 degrees to the left to look at the board and just read me the two numbers because there was two day rooms in that housing unit. He just had to read me the two numbers that he just had to turn his head 90 degrees. So I called down to, I mean, and this was just his whole ethic. I called down to ask him what his head count is, and he's, because his partner wasn't there. I was like, dude, turn your head slightly to the left and read the two numbers off the board to me. Like, that was actually, like, overwhelming for him. So that is the worst work ethic.
We both can't say it.
That's the times was a work ethic I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
That guy was just horrendous.
Do you have anything you want to promote? Any theoretical brand deals? Any?
No. If you like the soothing sounds of my voice, hire me as a voice actor.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you. So
Right.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for sitting here.
It was fun.
Yay!
Yahoo! We only had to sacrifice one light bulb.
I know. We broke a light. We dropped a light bulb.
So basically a success.
Hooray! It's okay. Nice.